Howdy guys, it's Luke at Luke's APS, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build a lightweight baseboard. Right, so in this video we're going to be doing a lightweight gaming board. This is for a board that I'm building for Mortal Gods at the moment. And we're building a lightweight baseboard because they're going to be transporting it around. So I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to show you how we build the lightweight baseboard and how to make it so you're going to reinforce all your foam around the outside of the board. Because what I see with a lot of modular boards is they leave exposed foam, which gets damaged when you lean over it. So it's a way of making a quality baseboard that protects everything on it. Alright guys, so let's see you at the end. Right, so first off, I'm getting some... I was going to get 6mm MDF. I ended up getting 9 because I didn't have any in stock. So I would have really used 6mm, but 9mm is more than ample. On top of that, I'm using 25mm beading. You can pick this from anywhere. It's usually called inch beading. Now what we're doing is we're working out where it's going to be, because we're going to drill the lines and drill the markings. So just mark out where it's going to be so you drill the holes in the right place. From that, just marking the other sides and making sure we've got all 4 sides ready. Now for drilling, make sure your drill piece is roughly the same size as the screw, and then we want to be drilling maybe 3-4 holes along each length, just so we can attach the beading to each piece. And with using the beading on the wood like that, it makes it lighter rather than using a big thick piece of wood. You've got like a nice frame that goes around your board that strengthens the wood and stops it from bowing. Once you've drilled all the holes, do turn the piece of wood over, because we want to be attaching the wood underneath. Now I'm using a countersink tool. You can normally get these with all your drill bits. They're not expensive at all. So what you're drilling these for is so the screws won't scratch your tabletop when you put this on your dining table or whatever you play on. And this is just so when you screw your screws in, the head has got a place to go. So that's called a countersink. Then just put your screws through just to see whether they sit flush. If they sit flush, then you've done it right. If they don't, just use your countersink tool again, take it a bit further. And as you can see, flush as a daisy. Right, I'm going to be using some wood glue, no sponsor at all there. And then I'm going to wipe it all over the edge of the strip. Now we will be attaching this underneath, not on top. So I've clipped it in place, just so we can hold it and drill it all at the same time, and make sure this is flush with the edge because you don't want it to overlap. Look at how smooth that is, with the screws just sitting flush, so you're not going to scratch your table or anything at all. If you wanted, you could put some felt feet over them as well, just to hide them. And I mean, it is one of them things, you could put some felt on the bottom of this board just to add protection if you've got like an expensive oak table, for example. Now what we're doing is, once we've screwed one on, we're now marking where we're going to cut the external pieces, because there was all cut to a single length, but we've just cut them down, made them fit, and put one down the middle for extra support, as you can see, and that weighs more or less nothing. And if it was 6mm MDF, it would weigh naff all. Now I'm using 25mm foam, as you can see. That's why we picked the 25mm beading, so the foam would lay perfectly flush with the piece. Now cutting this with a razor saw, an idea of Wayne's, just to get a nice smooth easy cut, and you don't get any sort of bobbles anywhere either. It's a very clean way of cutting. And then just lay them in, do it for both sides and pack in the bottom. To stick it down though, the PVA, once you've got them cut to size, I'm using some of the Luke's APS basing glue just because it's fast drying and I want to get moving. So that's why I'm using that, but you could use PVA, you could use polyurethane glue from Gorilla, you could use any form of polyurethane glue, a decorating cork. It is the base bit of foam, so you're not going to be cutting it or shaping it with any foam tools or anything. But once you've got them all in place, I'm going to be building up the ground form. Now, I'm not going to go into much detail about this, building the ground form, because that's in the video where I show you how I'm building the Mortal Gods table. But I will show you how I build it up and keeping it flush with the side, because as you can see, I'm going over the wooden batten, because I want the edge to be perfect. So if you ever make this into a modular table, it will just butt straight up. We're just discussing how we're building the landform, but again, I'll go into more detail of that when I show you how I build the board from scratch. Now, with there being a beam in the middle of this table, I wanted to just get some foam over that beam because I will be putting a river in it. So I'm just hiding the beam, so when I cut down I've got something to cut into. Now this is the only problem when you're building a table like this with any support down the middle, is if you are going to be digging in, you need to make sure you put a layer of foam over any wood like that. But if you're not and you're just having it as quite a flat table, ignore this step. Then once you've worked out your landform, weigh it down, let it dry, do all your cutting and shaping. Once you've done all your cutting and shaping, you want to copy that onto a piece of wood for protection. This is just 3mm plywood, which we're gonna mark and cut to shape. First off, mark it where you're going to put the screws in, because obviously you don't want to be screwing this into polystyrene because it's not going to be strong enough. What you need to do is mark out all the lengths, and then we need to put some drill holes in where we can drill it into that 25mm beading. What I'm doing here with the knife is I'm warming it up because there's a bit of the foam that's overlapping. Now, a way to get it so it's, I wouldn't say perfect, but it's a way of just melting it back away from the wood so you can get more of a 90-degree angle. I do use a square edge to make sure that the wood is perfectly flat. It doesn't matter if the foam melts further in than possible because you will fill that with your modelling compound and things anyway. Now, we're drilling the holes in as before, same with the baseboard, just copying that step again. It's just so we know where to put the screws when we're putting them on. So all we do then is we just screw them in. Then once that's screwed in place, draw the land formation line on it. And copy this and then cut it out with a jigsaw. You could use a handsaw if you don't have a jigsaw, but I do advise a jigsaw, it's far easier. And then we're drilling pilot holes in the edging. And what we do is you put a piece of glue on there, and then we hammer some nails in to the piloted holes, and that's just so it holds it really well in place so that even the edging board won't break off. And then just screw it into place. A little hand screwdriver does make life much easier, but I mean if you've got a proper drill, then just use that. But these are the little drawing pins that they're like what you get from your like what you put in the back of your cupboards. I can't remember the proper name of them, but just hammer them in. The super fine nails anyway. Keep it nice and flush and knock them through gently, and because it's piloted, it's not going to cause too much damage. The polyurethane glue will swell up and make sure that it is super strong. The pins are just in there as a secondary precaution so it won't ever pull off your model. Now all them gaps, what I'm doing is that rather than using modelling compound because it's heavy, I'm using filler foam in the gaps. We do put modelling compound over the filler foam to add strength, but you're not stuffing loads of modelling compound into all the gaps. So if you've got any really bad areas, don't worry about it because you can use expanding foam to fill that. It's nice and light and it acts as an adhesive. Let that swell up, let that expand, fill it up, and once we've cut that off, all we do is we put as modelling compound and as ground cover over the top, and that way it completely hides all the gaps and it looks like one solid piece of board. And to cut it with ease, I use the razor saw again, because again, no mess, perfect tool, and just cut that flush, and then we're going to go over with all those bits and pieces. Right, now to get rid of all them nasty screw heads and nail heads and stuff, you just want some wood filler or some wall filler, and just put this on with a spatula and scrape it flat. As you can see, this is just a cheap brand, it's nothing special, it's just a matter of covering them up. So what we're going to do is when we paint this black, it just makes it look far more professional, because everything will be a very neat, perfect finish. I don't do this in the video, I don't paint it and varnish it. I will do that in the complete board build, so if you want to watch that, do stay tuned over the next few weeks when all these videos will be coming out. I'll be going into depth on everything that I've done. This is just a lightweight board build, that's all, okay? But just give them a good fill, scrape them over, and then we'll sand, once that's dry after about, I'd give it an hour or two to dry properly. And then yeah, just got to sand that perfectly flat. Best thing to do is get it flat, is get a piece of off-cut wood that's nice and flat, get some 120 grit sandpaper, and then just rub it down till you can't feel it anymore. And that way all your screw heads are hidden, all your nasty edges where the wood, because obviously ply is built up of a couple of pieces, you won't see that the different types of wood then. So when you completely paint it, it'll look like a solid frame all the way around the board, and you won't see any sort of lumps, edges or unevennesses in the wood. It could even look like plastic when it's done, because we're gonna use like a really high gloss yacht varnish around the outside, you see. But just go all over that. You might need to do this again once you've finished the board. And as you can see, once you've got all your ground covering on and the board's starting to come to shape, you just texture it all as if it's the board. It does add an extra, 3mm to the board, but I wouldn't worry about it. Nobody's going to complain about an extra 3mm. But that just makes it solid, strong. You're not going to knock it, you're not going to break your board, you're not going to cut it or just damage the foam around the outside. It makes it last forever. Right guys, so that's just the lightweight baseboard. As you can see, it's not like a complete build of a lightweight baseboard, but I'm showing you how you do the main structure, because obviously a lot of people, if you're building your baseboard, you could make it like really thin. You could use like 3 or 6mm MDF or ply, and then build your frame using 25mm or 2-inch even, depending on the thickness of the foam that you're using, depending on what you're doing. And then you can put that beading on, stripped out middle for strength, stop it bowing, and that way, especially if it's like a centimetre, the one that I'm going to build for myself for making a full modular board, I'm going to make it a centimetre thick, and I'll show you how I do that. It just makes it super lightweight. No matter what you put on it, you can pick it up by yourself and store it behind something. That's what you need to do, okay? If you are going to be doing something as elaborate as this table, which is it's coming out lovely, I'm pretty proud of it, to be fair. I'll show it in the later videos. You can see bits of it as is at the moment, but it really makes a difference using thinner wood and then building a frame and then putting your foam on top of that frame. Makes it light work and lightweight. And if you do spend a bit more time on your foam and everything else, and use, one, it's cheaper because you're not having to use as much modelling compound, but two, it's lighter weight. And then if you're using like the grouts and the soil and everything else like I do for your ground covering, it makes it so hard and robust. And I'll also show you a way in the next few videos how to make the polystyrene really firm, because I have used cheap polystyrene on this and I do make it rock hard, and it's just a very easy, cheap thing to show. So stay tuned for the next few videos. These are going to be really in-depth videos on this board, going over the ruined temple, going over streams and waters, waves, and I'm going to show you how to make a new water product that I will be bringing out, and I'm also going to show you how to make it. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to getting these videos out over the next couple of weeks. I'm just trying to get finished off and squared up. I've got loads of new tech as well. I've got loads of new cameras and loads of new microphones and stuff, which I've got to set up. As you can see, I'm starting to work on the room again. and work on lighting. That's why it's not perfect in here at the moment. But I'm wanting to up my game. Okay, so everything's happening. Everything's all over the place. That's why the videos are a bit slow at the moment, but it's all coming. Don't you worry. Catch you in a bit, guys. If you want to buy any of my materials and everything as normal, do check my shop below. We are back open now after the stock taking and everything. So all the links and everything are below, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again for the next video in a bit.